There we go. All right, we are at 2 o'clock on the West Coast, which is a normal. Well, it's a little earlier than our normal presentation, but the reason for that, of course, is that we have our featured speaker is coming to us live all the way from Nigeria today. So, given that it is 10 p.m. where Michael is, we thought that it would be a little bit nicer rather than make him wait till 1 a.m. to start. We'd give him a little bit of an earlier start time here, and I'm super excited to be welcoming Michael to our presentation for today. So before we turn the screen over to Michael, though, what I am going to do is I'm just going to go through and give you a quick introduction to what we're actually have happening here. So we're into our welcome and overview section, and within about 5 minutes or so, I'll be turning the screen over. So first thing that we always like to do for every one of our meetups is just throw out a big thanks to the sponsors that actually make all this stuff possible. Excel Guru is my company that organizes and gets the meetups all going in place here. SkillWave is our training division. If you're looking for awesome training on Power Query and Power Pivot and Power BI, there is no better place to go than SkillWave training. Microsoft, of course, who awards us with our MVP status, both myself and our featured speaker today, Michael, as well as they provide us the software, the teams that we're using right now. And finally, I just want to throw a quick shout out to Monkey Tools, which is a product that we've built for Excel to make your modeling journey faster. Interestingly enough, I was working on Excel today, trying to pull some tables into Power Query, and ran into a bug in the beta build that is preventing me from doing that. But Monkey Tools still works to make it happen. And I was pretty happy about that. So I have to use my own software now to get my job done, which is kind of interesting. Our next meetups that will be coming up, I will be the featured speaker on October 21st. We will be returning to our normal 6 p.m. start time on the West Coast. I'm going to be running a session in Power BI on queries versus parameters. What's the difference when you're working with those in Power Query? And then for our next Excel/Power BI track, I'm super excited to be welcoming my friend Jakob Nilsson from Microsoft, who is going to be talking about Power BI and Excel data types together. That one, again, is going to be an earlier start. We're going to be going at 11 a.m. on the West Coast, and that is because Jakob is actually going to be joining us from Denmark for that presentation. So, again, we wanted to try and make something that we don't have to have him up in the middle of the night to do a presentation for us. So just be aware of that. We're going to be jumping back and forth some different time zones for the next few presentations. I did want to throw out a quick note that the next semester of my self-service business intelligence bootcamp for Excel and Power BI kicks off on Tuesday next week. It is not too late to register if you are interested. Please check out the link down the bottom here. This is a huge program with over 33 hours of training and coaching. I actually just did a 2-hour Ask Me Anything session, which is one of the things that we do monthly with my group yesterday from our previous semesters, and built some pretty cool solutions in there. But there's a ton of good stuff that's going on in there. You get a copy of my book, you get all kinds of video material, and a lot of interaction with myself and others as well. So if you're interested, do check that out. We're super excited to be kicking that off, as I say, on Tuesday next week. If you've been waiting for a long time for my book, Master Your Data for Excel and Power BI, to come out, you are not alone. We're super excited that these guys are very close to shipping now, although you can get your PDF copy at SkillWave. This is a complete rewrite of the previous book. It's totally brand new, and they will be coming out and starting shipping from Amazon and the MrExcel.com store as of November 1st. So we're less than a month away, and I can't wait because I still haven't got my physical copy yet. Mine's still the printed binder that I'm referring to. So if you're interested in picking that up, as I say, it's available at SkillWave today. The last thing that I want to throw out there before I kick the screen over to Michael here is, if you are interested in being one of our presenters, if you've got a topic that you're passionate about, we love new speakers. Please fill out the survey here at excelguru.ca/speakatvanpug. We would love to get you onto our stage. And that's what I got for me. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to kick over and hand the screen here to my friend Michael Olafusi, who is joining us live. Did I get that close to right?
Yes.
All right, cool. So he's joining us live from Nigeria here. So Michael, if you want to take the screen over, And I think what we talked about here was the chat is going to be open and active. And Michael, I believe you said you're going to be doing some case studies. So if people have questions, please fire them into the chat as we go along. And then Michael will pause after every case to go and answer questions. That sound about right?
Yes, yes.
Perfect.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Okay. And I can see your screen. I think you're good to go.
Great, great. So good afternoon to everyone. And if you're also from my side of the world, good evening. And if there's anybody who is already daytime, like morning for you, then good morning. So you'll see something on your screen. I will explain a bit more on why you might need. In fact, while I want you to go to this, you can scan it. You can do menti.com and enter the code. The reason is I have some questions I'm going to ask. So I have prepared 5 cases, and you might be like, cases on what? Okay, so let me quickly jump over to my main presentation slide. Okay, so as you can see, I have a screen that also shows. Good. So as you can see, I have 5 things prepared for us as regards using Excel for your personal finance. Right now, I see that the numbers we have it's not so extremely high, so which means that you can easily ask me questions as I go on. But if I'm struggling to keep up with the questions, then maybe you will wait till I'm done with the case. Then I answer all the questions that relate to that case before I move to the next case. Okay. A little bit about me. I am a Microsoft MVP financial modeler, business intelligence analyst. You'll get the slide, this particular file, so you can read more. But the other thing I want to mention is do feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm not active on the other ones, but I felt putting just LinkedIn will look like, am I only on LinkedIn? So I decided to put the other ones. And if you want to check out my website, what my company does, then great. So let's go straight to what I have for us. The title is Using Excel for Your Personal Finance. And so I am going to case number 1. And okay, so I've done something for Ken throughout this. I hope he's going to be happy with what I've done. Okay, so let's say you have a savings goal of $1 million Canadian to buy a nice private house in the Caribbean. Now, don't ask me if the houses you are seeing in this picture, what they sell for, if $1 million Canadian will get you them. That is not the main focus of why I'm doing this. The main thing is I'm picking a number that is easy to use because I needed to answer a question for me. So the question is this. I hope you see my, good, I can also monitor, but I hope you see my screen clearly. If you want me to zoom bigger than what I have, I can, but I'm going to also read the questions. I just wanted to keep looking at the nice pictures, so you'll be motivated to answer the question. So my case study 1 is this. Let me turn off the grid lines so it makes it easier to read. Our very own Ken has drawn, is no longer concerned about numbers in sales. He now worries more about numbers in bank accounts, and he now runs an investment firm. He's able to structure an investment opportunity for you, for me, for everyone, and it's going to be a guaranteed 5% annual return. So here's the question, right? If I'm really serious about saving $1 million to buy a house that looks like this somewhere in the Caribbean, what do you think I need to do? So this is the question, right? I'm going to get 5% annual return in Ken's investment fund that is structured. So the question is, I see the questions some people are asking. Okay, so for me, my question to you is, how much exactly should you save if you know that you are going to be saving it in that special fund, that let's call it Ken's guaranteed fund? Okay, so if you're going to be saving in this special fund, how much do you think you need to save? And exactly 100,000 Canadian dollar per year, less than that, more than that. So I need you to do a quick vote. Let's go to where the link is. Oh, great. So That's why this is useful. Now, I think I see people already have figured out how to use it. All you need to do is go to menti.com. Maybe I'll also share the link, as that can be a bit easier to just click on the link from the chat box. Okay, vote is not the right word to use, but yeah, register your own thoughts, your own opinion. What do you think? You need to save more than 1,000 Canadian dollar, less than 1,000 Canadian dollar per year. Okay. All right. So because of time, I'm going to quickly start answering. So as we go on, the questions will get tougher, but I see people are picking consistently the middle choice. Okay, so let's go see for ourselves. And the main focus is simply to let us understand that this is a situation we face a lot when it comes to investment. I know it might be difficult to find an investment that gives you a guaranteed return, but everyone knows you can always have an estimate, right? So if you are investing or saving up for something that you're going to spend towards in the future, 5 years, 6 years from now, do you need to save exactly, what you need to spend in that future period, or can you do something like this? Can you look for an interest-bearing account and then save in it? Then there are two questions, right? Will you need to save exactly what you need in terms of this case, $1 million in 10 years, which means you'll be saving $100,000 per year if you're not getting any interest. But now that we know that it's an interest-bearing account, then the second question is, how much exactly should you aim to save? And that's what Excel can help us to achieve, okay? So the formula we're going to use is PMT. I don't know if you're familiar with this formula. Anybody familiar with PMT? If you ask me what's the meaning, I think it's payment, but then, cool, great. I see people are familiar with the formula. So I'm going to delete. Let's go see if you're correct. Then we can. Oh, someone thinks you need to save exactly 1,000 Canadian dollar per year. So let's go check the answer. I have the answer here already. I'm going to make it bold. Make it back in a visible font, black. And see, you only need to save $79,505 per year. And which means if you multiply these by 10, you'll be saving just a little above $750,000, right? The other $205,000 above that you will make it 1 million is going to be completely from the interest you are earning on where you're putting the amount. So, but how did I get to this? So that's what we want to do together. So let me introduce you to one of the very nice financial planning formulas in Excel. When I say financial planning, also personal planning like this, not necessarily has to be something for a business. PMT, if you do PMT helps you to get a regular payment. It could be, in this case, towards a savings. There could be a case where it's for loan, but now let's focus on how it will work for us towards a savings goal, right? So I'm going to use something that makes it a lot easier for me to explain, which is bringing up the function dialog box. And so payment asks us for, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parameters you can provide or arguments, okay? So let's start with the rate, a 5% annual rate. For how many number of periods? So this is an annual rate, so that means we have to work with years, right? Your rate and your period must be in agreement. If you're working with monthly rate, then monthly period. So I can instantly just pick the 10 years directly from there, and then
Oh, Michael, you still there? Sounds like we've got a little bit of a pause going here. So it's the challenge when we're coming live across the entire world on this thing here. So he's definitely frozen, which is not usual for his country. I think it's pretty warm down there. So sorry, bad dad jokes. Hopefully time for me to vamp. You think that that I should be jumping in here? Oh, hey, wait, I think he's back. Are you back?
Yes, I am. And
Whew, that's close, man. I just about had to do like finance stuff. Yee.
The funny thing is, I have two of my PCs directly on the network. The other one didn't have any issues. So now what I've done is I've plugged a wired Ethernet cable to it. So I'm hoping that will solve it. Okay, so where was I? I was at the present value, and I was wrongly explaining present value at first. Present value is what you have right now. Like at the beginning of the period, what are you starting with? So we're starting with 0, nothing in savings yet, okay? And future value. So for future value, that's the amount that we hope to have in exactly the end of the entire period. So future value is at the end of the 10 years. So for that, I'm going to pick this. Now, there's a rule with these cash flow related formulas. I'm going to even try to show you in a very, let's see if I have it here. So I have a financial calculator that, in fact, in the manual, it's let me see if I can bring it out. So some of my exams that I did, I needed to use a financial calculator. Let me see if I have it here. So I can show you what it looks like. But anyway, I can't find it. So I can tell you what I'm trying to point out. If you look at my screen, you'll notice that this is coming in a negative value. So the thing is, oh, cool. Mine is not, it's not like this, but it's exactly still the business analyst, the Texas Instrument. So this is cool, great. So I think I have people in the house who are probably more knowledgeable on this than me. So in case my network goes off again, please feel free to just take charge and take control. But let me quickly complete this aspect. So if you care about the sign, you don't want it to show as negative because you're like, oh, why is it negative? Then just put a negative around the future value. So that will make the payment not come in negative. But for now, let's not worry about that. Then the type. So for Excel, you get two options for type. Is it at the beginning of the period? Are you going to put this money aside at the beginning of the period, beginning of the year? Or it's going to be at the end of the period, end of the year? So let's say you're going to put this money aside at end of the year, beginning of the year. Which do you think we should go with? Okay, let's say we go with beginning of the year. Okay, so I do okay, and voila. So it shows us that you need to contribute $75,719 every year for you to hit the 1 million USD. Okay, so I think the right answer is those who picked the option 2. Okay, so now we all know what the right answer is. Okay, now let's just add a bit of taking this further, and then I'll speed up a bit. Now that any questions about what I've done so far? Okay, so I'm going to take the complexity up a bit. Now, most of us get paid on some kind of monthly frequency, maybe twice a month, once a month. It's a lot easier to save towards something monthly rather than trying to have a bulk sum you put aside yearly, right? So let's say I want to so let's say I see the comments, they make me laugh. So let's say I want to calculate exactly what I need to save monthly, right? Okay, so for that, the same PMT, I'm going to change the font back to black and equal to PMT. Do again the FX to bring up the function dialog box and the rate. So the rate and the period must be in agreement. So if I'm doing monthly, I need to take this annual rate, divide it by 12 to get the approximate monthly rate. And then the number of periods is going to be 10 years times 12 months, okay? And then the present value remains, I'm starting with 0 in my savings. I'm just going to sign up with Ken for this guaranteed fund. And so I'm starting from scratch. I do not have anything already there. And then I hope to get $1 million USD at the end of the 10 years. Again, this one, I'm going to go with end of month. So my salaries come my income comes in end of month. So end of month will be more like a lot closer to reality. So I'm going to say 0 or omit. And then if I do okay, this shows that I only need to put away $6,440 every month for me to get, after 10 years, 1 million USD or 1 million Canadian dollars. So let's check it out. What would I have saved nominally? What would be the exact amount I'll have put aside? Okay, I'm going to take these multiplied by 12. Okay, so that means that this is the amount I will need to save. And then for 10 years means that this is what I will have put away in that account. And the remainder is coming purely from the interest Ken is giving me. So that's the end of my case number 1. Okay, maybe that's not the end. I have a question. So can someone help me with these? Let's work with, okay, good. So let's say for this one, I can only afford to save $70,000 every year. So what rates should I ask from Ken? What rate should I bargain with Ken to get as a guaranteed rate? So I'm not going to ask you to tell me the rate, but what comes to your mind? What tool in Excel will you use if you know that you've done the calculation, you are not happy with the amount you need to put away, you've done your own internal check, and you see that you can only put away $70,000, then how can you find the rate? So this is a case of working backwards to figure out what rate you need to ask for you to be able to meet your $1 million goal without having to save for more than 10 years. And so anybody want to chime in what you think will do that? Just tell me what tool to use. Okay, someone says solver. I want more options. I want something easier, actually. And when I say easier, because I want something that, because there's actually a solver adding in Excel, but I know there's something easier that I can click on. So anybody want to tell me something easier right here in my Excel that I can use? Awesome, awesome. Goal 6. So let's try it out. Let's quickly do that. So this is a case of I have a goal in mind to save exactly, to put aside 70. So let's make my screen look bigger. I go to data menu. I go to goal, what if analysis. I go to goal seek. So this is a case of I want to put away. So this is my cell of yearly contribution. I can only afford to save $70,000 every year. And I'm interested in Ken giving me a better rate. So that's just the cell that, let me repeat in case, let's do it, then I'll repeat. Okay. So I'm going to just do it a second time. So this has gotten the answer, but then just in case it was too fast, let me just repeat. Goal seek. So those who said goal seek, correct. What is the goal that I'm intending to achieve? My goal is to make a yearly contribution of exactly 70,000 USD, and I want to get the exact interest rate to go ask Ken for. So this is it. And that's the end of my case 1. So I'm moving on. So let me check how I'm doing with time. Okay, good. I need to move faster. All right, so case number 2. I hope no questions on case number 1. That's a lot easy. So this is going to be a bit fast. Compared to that one, I will take a faster pace. So here's the case for this one. I've gotten a business for Rebecca. Rebecca is one of the people who, well, Rebecca and Ken are the ones who got me here in front of you today. So I decided to do something, all my cases revolve around them. So Rebecca runs a Tesla dealership on the side. I hope you can see the questions. I hope it's not too, let me focus more on the question rather than the Tesla image itself. Okay, so she runs a Tesla dealership on the side, and now there's a Model S that you can pay for, and this is like 4 payment options. No longer, originally I was working with 2, but now 4. So payment option 1 is you do a 40. So I need you to start answering question number 2. So let me close votes, move to question number 2. So please start answering this question right now. So these are the options. The question is simply, which is your best option financially? You have $200,000. I keep saying USD, so let me just keep saying the USD that comes to my that I'm used to saying, you know. So let's say you have exactly 200,000 USD in an account right now that's going to be earning you 5% annual return. Okay, so you have the money. It's not that you do not have the money, but then you want to make the best option of pick the best of the payment options that there is. Okay, so one is 40,000 down payment, and then you pay 11,000 USD for the next 6 months. Okay, then there is 60,000 down payment, and you pay 4,500 USD for the next 12 months. Okay, I've made things easier for us. I've tried to compute what the nominal value will be if you pay 40,000 at the beginning and you keep paying 11,000 for the next 6 months. Then you pay 60,000 now, and then you pay 4,500 for the next 12 months. Okay, and this you paid the $100,000 at once, and this it's like the reverse of option B, where you pay the 4,500 every month, and then you pay the bulk, like the 60,000 USD at the end of the 12 months. Okay, so the question is, which is your best option financially? What do I mean by best option financially? At end of month 12, at end of the year, which one makes you have the largest amount left in your bank account? So which leaves the largest remainder, the largest sum in your accounts? Okay, so that's what I mean by which is your best option financially. So let's go check what people are picking. Right. Okay. All right. Any more? You can type if you want to put in the chat box, just that this is nicer because people get to see what everybody is saying. So remember what I said, to get to this is simply go to menti.com and type the code. I'm sharing the vote link. Sharing that again. So right now it seems more people are going for doing 4,500 every month and then paying 60, doing a bullet payment of like 60, the larger sum, the down payment at the end of the month. Okay, so let's go check what the right answer is. You can keep voting anyway while I walk towards the answer. So let's see how with Excel, I can take away the guesswork. I can make all our not knowing what it is to go away. Okay, so it looks like an elaborate breakdown I've done, but we can do it together. Let me see the time I have. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to make this not what would be the best way to do this. Okay, I'm going to copy all of this and paste here, and let's see how we can try to recreate everything from scratch and know what the right answer will be. Okay, good. All right, so this is what you have in the account. Go up my second screen. You've got $200,000 in the account. Now, this is at the beginning. I decided to use month 0 to make it a lot easy for you to understand my formula. So the beginning, before any month starts counting for you. Now, if you do not buy the car, what will you have, okay, as interest, okay? So it's there's a formula for interest that you can easily compute. Okay, so the formula, I'm going to go grab, let me write it on the screen and then we type it. Draw. Okay. So for compound interest, okay, it is the principal, right, times 1 plus, so, okay, 1 plus whatever the rate is. Remember, the rate and the period must agree, and then the number of periods, so I'm using period as t. So this will get us what the compounded sum would be. If I need to get out just the interest that has accumulated on the money, then I need to say, okay, take out the principal. So that's what I'm going to type in here. I'm going to say the interest is equal to the principal times 1 plus I'm going to just type this in so that it's easier to see. So remember what I said, it must agree with the period. So it has to be divided by 12 to get it to be in months. And then raised to power the time. So this, I'm going to say everything minus the original amount before the interest accumulates. So and then this is going to be plus the interest that has accumulated. So this is saying that it's compounded monthly. I think I put it here that the money is compounded monthly. So whatever you earn in month 1 becomes the principal that earns you interest in month 2. So I'm going to go on. Okay, so I can drag this. That's the whole advantage of doing the formula correctly the first time. And then these two I can drag. Okay, so something is going to go wrong, so which I can fix. For this, the principal, okay, so every month is going to be just period 1 if I'm using this. Okay, what I mean is what we earn as interest on month 1 is going to be principal at the beginning of month 1. So I'm just going to make this easier for us and say the interest this month is going to be exactly 1 month interest on this that was the beginning of the month. So let's just drag that down to be faster. Okay. So what I'm going to have at the end of the month is, at the end of the year, is this plus this. And we can check it out. Why? If I do this formula that I've written on the screen, principal times 1 plus the interest raised to power the entire 12 months, which is the duration. And that's it. If I do this, I'm going to get, voila, the same amount. If you increase the decimal point, you see. So we are correct. That's what I want to prove there. So let's use that to get out how, let me look at my time. Let's use that to get out how we would have easily found out what the right option is, okay? So coming back here, since you've seen the formula I've done. Option A, you pay 40,000, right? And then you keep paying 11,000 every month for the next 6 months. So what that means is that month 1, you're going to have 200,000 minus the 40,000 plus whatever interest you've earned. That's what you will earn interest on. And so like that, you find out that the interests are not as much as these, because every time you make a payment, it reduces what you have next in the account to earn interest on. So by the time you do all of that, you will have at the end what is left in the bank at the end of the 12 months. So this is option A. We are left with 99,810 USD. And then option B, we are left with where you pay 60,000 at the beginning and you keep paying 4,500 every month for the next 12 months. Okay. For that, you see, we are left with 91,908. I'm sharing this file, so in case you want, I'm looking at my time, and since I've done the formula here, I felt rather than doing it all over for every single option, we can just look at the outcome easily and focus on any questions that anyone has. So option C is where you pay the 100,000 USD down payment and you don't have any recurring monthly payment, and the person isn't trying to make you pay more, because that's what happens when you spread payment. You pay more than what you will have paid if you made the complete payment in one purchase at the beginning of the period, like instant down payment for every of the entire sum. So this leaves us with 105,116. Then this one, where you pay 4,500 for the next 12 months, and then at the end of the year you pay the 60,000 USD. So this one gets us 94,747. So if you look at it, interesting result. So let's go check out what people picked. Oh la la. A lot more people picked option 4. I think those people work in treasury departments of banks or financing agencies, because that's the option. That's why if you're as a company, you're trying to raise money, it's nicer rather than borrowing from a bank, taking a bank loan where you are paying both principal and interest, over the period of the loan. You decide to do a corporate bond where you structure in such a way that you pay the coupon and then you pay the bulk amount at the end. You do a bullet payment at the end. So you'll see that can be likened to this. I'm going to make this in bold, color this, and so for some reason my screen keeps jumping, and this. So if you check these two options, they look nominally the same, but they are different. Just because you're able to defer the larger sum to the future, you're able to earn more interest, and so you have a lot more money in your bank than the person who did this larger bulk payment at the beginning. So if you're borrowing, if you have a friend who is all flexible about how you repay him, well, if you care more about you having more money than your friend having more money, then you probably want to structure the repayment this way. You agree with the way he says it, but then you say, okay, let's flip it this way, that I pay the larger amount at the end of the loan period than at the beginning. You will, well, hopefully if you put the other money you have left in an interest-bearing account, then you end up with more money in your bank. So the right answer is option C. So this is the correct answer, green. So I move on now to case number 3. Let's look at the time. Any questions so far? Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have any gift for the people answering correctly, except I'm going to give you the image of the car. Then you print it out and use it as a wallpaper. Okay, so I'm going to go to case number 3. So this goes now to something else that is also common whenever you try to do investment. So let's look at this. I'm going to also move my screen to the next, so you can start. Oh, I think I skipped this one. Oh, I went to case 4. I didn't do case. This is terrible. Okay, let me exit. So somehow I skipped case number. All right, not a problem. It's not difficult to add. So we're going to quickly duplicate this I'm going to just go grab the question, which is your best investment option, and put it here, call it case 3. Probably thought I did this into just say option A, option. Wow, 2, 3. A, option A. Option B. I think what happened is I overwrote when I was creating case 4, I deleted case 3 because I remember doing this actually. So, but that's a good thing we copy and paste. So we are good to go. I'm going to project this on the screen. Present. Okay, so you can start answering. So here's the question. I call this where chocolate meets in Excel. So you decide that, oh, you like chocolate and you want to invest in it, and there are different options of things you could do with your money. But then again, how can you decide with Excel what to eventually do, which option to go with? So I have, or in this case, you have 100,000 USD that you do not know what to do with. You have it available for a long-term investment. And then you have these 3 options. One is to have the money in a 5% annual return account. Another is to invest in cocoa plantation in West Africa and contribute to the production of your favorite snack or favorite, if you're a chocolate fan. Option C is to go into a property investment, buy a property for 100,000 USD and hope to sell it for 200,000 USD in 15 years' time. Which is your best investment option? Remember, best means that at the end of the 15 years, which one will leave you with more money? Which one is going to, you look at the money you have, and that is the one with the largest sum of money of all the options. So what do you think? Interesting answers. Okay. This is going to shock many of you. You're going to be like, no way you will see this coming. Like the answer that is the correct one is not what most people think is the correct one. Okay. Maybe not so many people will be shocked then, or maybe a lot. Okay, let's see. Let me not give you clues. All right. All right. So you can keep voting while I show you how with Excel, making the answer show it's a lot easy. So I'm going to just delete. Let's see. I don't want you to see the answer, so let me do something. I'm going to create another window, new view, take these out of, and then okay, good. So I have what I need here. So let's do this together then, right? You have 100,000 USD for all these options. You are starting with 100,000 USD. So option 1, you put the 100,000 USD in Ken's guaranteed investment account. Option 2, you spend that 100,000 USD upfront to set up the cocoa plantation. Option 3, you spend the 100,000 USD again upfront to buy a property, right? Now, option 1, if you remember how we go about it, let me just do the formula again in case you've forgotten. It's going to be the money at the start of the period, the money times into bracket 1 plus the rate of return. So rate of return is 5% annually. So we don't need to divide that by 12 because now we are working annual rate yearly period. And then raised to power d. So I'm just doing the compounding formula that I've shown us here. And so with that, I drag down up onto the 15th year. I see what I'm going to end up with. So now let's do the one for option B. For option B, for the next, because the cocoa plantation is going to take I think something is wrong with the question. I omitted something. The cocoa plantation takes 5 years. So it starts paying you after the 6th year. So apologies for that. Now I see why so many people pick that option. So after the 6th year, actually, because it starts producing by the 6th year, it takes 5 years to grow, and then it starts producing by the 6th year. So I'm really sorry that I misled you there. But nonetheless, the thing I want to show us you will get. So for the next 5 years, no inflow. Then for the next, you start getting 20,000. So say that money is not put into any interest-bearing account, you just keep adding it nominally. So it means that it keeps adding up. And then this is what you end up with at the end of the 15th year. And then for this one, you get exactly 200,000 at the end of, how many zeros? One more zero left. So with this, I'm able to see that this pays me more. But now I see why you are correct. Everyone who had picked this option 5, you're actually correct because my question was incomplete. So if we had followed the 20,000 every year, as if, right from the next year you start getting the money, then you are right. But then let's work with this. Now, the main thing is, how will I know what the rate of return has been, right? So there's a formula in Excel that gets for us what the annual rate of return is. In investment cycle, we call it CAGR, your compound annual growth rate. Hope I got that right. Yeah. If I didn't get it right, you can go find out what the correct one is. So this is something that just looks at what you started with. It's very good for things that do not follow equal yearly returns. So take, for instance, your revenue as a company, your investment into stocks, into things that are volatile. So they don't just grow at the same growth rate every year. So you want something that you can say, okay, I know what the value is at the start of the period. So RRI, I'm going to make my screen grow bigger. What's the number of periods? So this is 15 years. How much did I put aside at the beginning of the period? So what I put aside, or what I have at the beginning of the period, is exactly $100,000. And then what do I have at the end of the period? I have this amount. So with this, it calculates for me what the CAGR will be, what the average annual growth rate, for that my investment opportunity is. So I do okay. This gives us 5%, which is correct. So that's what that investment actually is, 5% yearly. But what is interesting is with this formula, I'm able to get for the other options, right? So you'll see that it's 4.7%. It makes it easy for you to compare different investment options. So if you have different investment options and you do not know which one is giving you the best return, rather than having to do this laborious way of breaking things down, you could just, maybe you might still need to, but either way, whether you do this or you're able to use a formula, there are so many formulas in the financial domain that can get you answers easily, or use the calculator like like someone has generously showed us which of those, a calculator that could do most of these financial calculations for us. But the thing is, with Excel too, you can always be able to take investments that are of varying parameters, varying profile, and get out what is your best option among many. Okay. So Nina says you can sell the cocoa plantation after that. Well, that is information I didn't provide in this option. So the key thing is, I wanted you to see how you can use this formula to go from what your investment is giving you at a particular period and work backwards to find out what has been the rate of return. So for me, I'm into stocks investment. I just plug in what's my portfolio value right now, what it was, when I put in a lot of the money. Let's say you put in a bulk amount at a period many months or many years ago, then you can easily find out what has been the annual growth rate. Okay, so I move to case 4. So case 4, let's look at my time. Case 4 is another very interesting one. Great. So I need you to also go vote. Okay, let me see if my question is correct here. Did I give all the information you need? So you want to retire. We all know the benefit of retirement. So let's talk about retirement. You want to retire well. And in this case, I have 2 people, right? So let me turn the slide to where you can pick your correct answer. Okay. So start answering. But this is the case. Consider, this is a very terrible way to start a statement. There are 2 people. Okay. Yeah. Consider 25 years old Peter and 40 years old Paul. So 2 different people. One is 25 years old, the other is 40 years old. They are both going to retire at age 65. Okay. Not the same year, but at age 65. Peter saves $2,000 per year. Paul saves $5,000 per year. Their retirement savings account does a consistent 5% annual return. So at retirement age, who do you think we have the more money saved? The most money. English is not my native language. So which do you think we have the most money saved? Okay. So is it Peter? Is it Paul? And you can start voting. So I've made it easier for you to see. Peter is saving 2,000 USD for 40 years. This is Paul. Paul is saving 5,000 USD for 25 years. Okay, which means that nominal value, Peter is putting into his investment account 80,000 USD, but spread across 40 years. While Paul is putting into his investment account, whoa, this is a lot more, 125,000 USD. And so who do you think we have? Do you think they will both retire with the exact same amount? Do you think Paul, we have more money, or you think Peter, we have more money? Okay. Another interesting. Okay. All right. So let's go check out what the right answer is. So the right answer is, there's a formula for it. So I'm going to do it here, FV. So future value does exactly what we are trying to figure out. So future value says, if you're putting money aside consistently, right, which is what happens with retirement savings accounts, it's deducted automatically. Just that what my own is doing that is different from reality is assuming you're putting aside equal amounts. So, but again, let's just work with this to get how you can easily compute you putting aside money equal amounts every year. So let's see, every year. So the rate is 5%. The number of periods is 40 years for Peter. The amount is putting aside, so let's put it in minus cash outflow, is $2,000. Present value is how much at the start did he have already in the account? 0. When is it setting this money aside? Let's say it's setting it aside at the end of the year, so 0 or omitted. And that is it. So what do? I do OK, and it gets me the answer. Now, I don't need to redo all of this. I just drag it and voila. The right answer is Peter. Peter is going to have more money. How much more money? Let's check. He's going to have about $3,000 more. Okay, even though he saved a smaller amount, he saved much less than, less than half of what Paul saved. But that's the value of time, value of money. That's the advantage of starting early. So people who chose Peter, yeah, you are correct. All right, so that's the answer for that. So that's another formula that you can easily use in your personal finance, in your own financial planning, right? Any questions so far? It seems people, is it like I'm boring us, or you know all of this, or you guys don't care about using Excel for finance? So the last case I have is about loan repayment. So there are different ways you can repay your loan, the debts you have. So the example I have here is to use I don't know if it's popular over there in Canada, but for those of us that follow internet experts, it seems popular, the snowball effect, which says that, let me show us what it says anyway, that if you have multiple debts that you are repaying, what you do is pay the minimum for all your debt except the smallest one. So the smallest one in value, which in this case is this person has 3 debts, 65,000, 25,000, and 5,000. So the smallest one is the 5,000 USD. If you're following the snowball, it says you pay the minimum that you are allowed to pay for these ones that are not the smallest. And then for the smallest, you pay all the money you have left to pay, the max you can afford to pay. Okay, so if you have 5,000 USD residual income that you can put to paying down, like repaying your loans, then if we follow that methodology, so let me try to do that. I'm going to delete what I have, and then okay. So let's do this quickly. Since this is my last scenario, we can do this together from scratch. Right, so I have exactly 5,000 USD to pay every month. So this is what I have every month to pay towards clearing my loan. And what do I have? If you follow the rule, it says pay exactly the minimum for the out of these 3 loans, the 2 very large loans, and then the smallest, we are going to pay what we have left. So if I take out all right, so apologies for the formula issues. It's just 5,000 minus what you've paid towards the other 2 loans. So it gives us what is left to clear the 3rd loan. So that's what it says, right? And then naturally what you want to do is, this is what I'm going to pay every month, for the next, till the loans are all paid out, okay? Good, let's go from there first. And then what's the outstanding you have? This minus what you've paid. In this case, I'm not worried about interest. So this is a kind of not reality, because this is not factoring interest yet or bundling both together. But anyway, let's work with me. And I drag this down. Okay. So you expect that what you will have next is this minus what you've paid out of the outstanding, and you drag this to the end. So this is where knowledge of Excel and a few formulas is going to make your life a lot easy. So problem number 1 to fix is when you've finished paying a loan, you don't keep putting money aside for it. You don't keep sending money to the bank. This means you've overpaid. So we need to adjust our formula to say, whenever I'm done paying a loan, I no longer putting money aside for that loan. So the 2 magic formulas for things like these are max and min, where you need to set a floor or a ceiling. So in this case, we need to set, I think this would be a floor where we say we are not going to pay more than what we have outstanding, okay? Or maybe is that a ceiling? Okay, so the key thing is simply me saying whenever, so I need to adjust this. I'm never going to pay more than what I have outstanding. So which means I'm going to pay the minimum of what I originally would have paid if, I still have a lot outstanding. Minimum of that and what I have outstanding. So this is going to get me what I should pay. So check it out. Minimum of what I ordinarily would have paid and what I have outstanding. So that takes care of you overpaying. And if I drag that, you see it works correctly. It should work correctly. Let's see. What have I done wrong? Check. Minimum of what I should have paid, right? And what I have outstanding. Oh, I figured out what I've done wrong. Let's do that all over again. So let's just quickly undo. Here, I'm not supposed to pay more than what I have outstanding. So that is correct. What I have outstanding, so this is the problem. My formula here is wrong. So this is this actually. Let's quickly correct that. Okay, good. Okay, so this is actually correct. What was wrong before was I was picking the wrong cell. Let me undo so you see what was wrong. This was wrongly picking this instead of this. So that was why the error. And it's an error that it's across all of them. So I have to just go fix it from here. Drag down and drag all the way to the right. So let me check my time. I need to round up. Okay. So I'm going to drag this and voila, that fixes that. And I needed to also fix everything because I needed to fix to also apply for all the other periods. Good. So with that, problem one fixed. But then problem next is that snowball effect says that I should now pay the remainder, what I have left. Like in this case where I'm paying exactly 500. So I still have some money left that I should have put towards the next, big loan or the next small loan. Let me use that word. So I'm going to need to adjust the formula here to say that it should check for the, okay, so it should check for, where I'm in month 4. It should check for what I have here. If what I have here is equal to 0, then it means I no longer have anything outstanding, right? In that case, rather than paying exactly whatever the formula I have there is showing I will pay, it should move what, so let me just say, it should move here minus here, whatever I have left, move it to pay this one. So what I have left will be 5,000 minus 2,000 minus, drag this away, minus 500, right? Close the bracket. And this is it fully. I hope I've not done anything wrong. It's my commas and bracket. Well, it will tell me if I've done any bracket wrong. Okay, so I think it's working. No, it's not. It should be 2,500. Let's check. Logic. So if what I have here is all paid out, so which means what I have here is 0, then it should take the full amount I have available, take out of it what to pay this one, take out of it what to pay. Okay, I think I've seen what I've done wrong. Bracket should be here. Okay. So I drag this, and you see, so it correctly knows how to automatically move all that is left to start paying the next big loan. So that's the snowball using Excel to do this in, this is the end. You need to fix this one. So in the file that I'm sharing, which that I've sent, which you get all of these done up to this stage. So you try fix this. Right now, this should be 5,000, right? Use what I've done to do it correctly to know. Let me color this yellow. Okay. So this is something you should apply what we've done so far on. All right, so this is the end. Any questions? Oh, great. So someone is mentioning that the part of the idea behind paying low balance first is to get wins to reinforce. Yeah, it's more of an emotional thing to get you motivated. Yes, okay. Ken, you were about saying something.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was the one was more just the explanation of the debt snowball method. I can't say that I've actually run into that before. I'm glad I'm not the only one here because I've done much finance, but that's a new one to me. So, and personally for me, I think I'd be going after paying the highest interest first. But I get the concept of trying to knock it off there. So. If there's any other questions that people have for Michael, please throw them into the chat. And I know that I believe, Michael, that Rebecca has already just posted the materials that you shared with her on the Meetup site. So I think everybody can download the materials that you shared.